Hi everyone and welcome back to the Couch Buddies. I am Blade.
And I'm DJ, and today, guys, welcome to an all-new Couchisode and with a very special guest with us. It's our first Couchisode with a very special guest. Today, we are bringing you Pedro from Retro Game Force, and he's going to be joining us today to talk about some of the games that he has from his extensive collection. I mean, it's very visible behind him. Yeah. Pedro, welcome to the Couch Buddies. How are you doing today?
Thank you, guys. Thank you for inviting me on this very special episode, you say. Well, I don't know if it's special, but yeah, I'm very happy to be here with you guys. Regarding the extensive library of games, well, you know, I'm accumulating some stuff there. I don't know it's if extensive or not. I don't know. And yes, I have some games here from my childhood that I actually like to discuss, you guys. If you have time, I don't know. Is it a good time? Or?
We do. Is it a good time? It is a good time, obviously. But before we go into that, I just want to remind everyone from something that happened last week. So we hit 1,000 subscribers, and that's something we're very happy for. We did the live last week, but unfortunately. And we apologize for all our, non-Portuguese speaker viewers. We had done a live, kind of celebrate this along with some friends that showed up, some people that have been along with us in this journey for a while. But anyways, we want to, extend the thanks to you, to all of you that have been, joining us on a weekly basis. Some of you both on the Portuguese episodes and on the English couches. So, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's a very good milestone, a very important milestone, but nothing is going to change. We're still going to be here talking about the games of our childhood, our teenage days, and today we actually brought Pedro here from Retro Game Force to, pick some of those very special ones from his library and tell us a bit more about them and what they represented to him and what does the nostalgia mean to him of these games. So, Pedro, you want to kick right off to start this Couchisode in big style with some of your games?
Yeah, so guys, congratulations for the 1,000 subscribers. I know how hard it is to achieve that milestone. For me, it was like forever to achieve it, and it's well deserved. You guys deserve it. You are doing a great job here on YouTube. It's a huge and great project here, guys, and it's really well deserved. I cannot say enough. So
thank you. We're gonna leave the channel links to Retro Game Force down there. So if you guys wanna, just take a look down there and visit Pedro's channel because
and subscribe
he has
to his channel.
If you don't have anything more interesting to do, yes.
Pedro has, a very, very nice channel with very, very good content.
Yeah.
He's not only exploring the retro, the retro gaming in several platforms, either from Nintendo, from Sega, and other brands. But he also does some really cool experiments like running Sonic on a Super Nintendo, which is something that you might want to look at because that was.
It's not yet on the channel, but it will come. Like I used to say on the channel, stay tuned.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! We shouldn't have said that, but
my channel is a bit. It's a bit technical. Let's say it goes a bit into technical aspects of retro gaming. Including emulation and also FPGA and the famous EverDrives that I'm exploring now, and it's really cool topics, and I hope people will also enjoy it. So let's see.
I kind of slipped my tongue on that one, but I'm sure that it's not gonna stop anyone from dropping by your channel and see the sorcery that you did there with the Super Nintendo. Anyway,
it's great.
Let's get back on track, Pedro. What do you have for us today?
I have the first game I chosen here as my absolutely nostalgia. I start with the NES, the 8-bit Nintendo that changed actually for me the video game market, at least in the US and a bit in Europe. Even if in Europe you have like the personal computers, they were a bit stronger market. But I brought here, let's see if I can see, Super Mario 3 for the NES.
Classic.
I have a complete inbox it's protected,
For me, it's one of the best. To be honest, if not the best Super Mario. Sorry guys, I know that the first one and the second one are really good also, but I did play the Super Mario 3 a lot, and I find it's one of the best Super Mario games of the series. Yes.
Exactly. So it's like a game that that it looks like it's not really 8-bit. I think they went all in with this game. They put everything they had into this game.
Yeah, it
And
looked awesome on
the
the
Mega
NES.
Drive or Genesis was already out in the US, and they came out with this one that sold like how you call it in Portuguese, hot potatoes or
like hot cakes.
Yes, exactly, and it sold really well in the US, even fighting against the 16-bit machine. I played this one and I was like amazed because it's such a huge game. The graphics are absolutely amazing. The sound is like for me one of the best in the NES library, and it's huge. You take a lot of hours to finish this one, guys. It's like incredible.
I think the sprites on that game were just beautiful, and I think they really took the hardware capacities of the NES to the maximum, and I think they squeezed every ounce of performance that little chip could do.
Not only that, they include a special chip inside of the cartridge.
Yeah.
We don't have so many on the NES. They went all out in the Super NES. Where they included a lot of games taking advantage of this special chipsets. Yeah. But this one I took it out of the box. This one is they use a special chip for the sprites exactly and for the sound. So it's a very special game for me. I played this. I finished it. I was very proud to finish. But some colleagues of mine, some friends of mine in that time said, for me it takes weeks to finish this, and you had saves with this one. You could save your progress. It took me forever. I was so addicted to this. I spent so many hours on this that I finished in a couple of days. I was finishing this. It's incredible.
It's such an awesome
so
game.
addictive. And I was a fan of Mario, but not like a huge fan of Mario, let's say. But after this one, then I became really a fan of the Super Mario games.
I really loved the one that came after that one, and the SNES also was awesome.
Yeah, I back in
this one, the quality of this one and the Super Mario World. Come on, the graphics are a bit better, of course, on the Super NES, but the jump of generation, I didn't saw it. This one is really good.
I think when that came out, I was. I shared this many times on the channel. I mean, I had. I usually said that I didn't have any consoles, but I actually had a few of them, but they were not maybe mainstream consoles. But I never had like an NES or a Super NES or anything like that. So I remember that I played this, but I played Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. So which was, obviously, it didn't have the same graphical quality, but they were still like great games. And I think that one of the things that they really did well, especially on the Game Boy, was actually the ports of some of these versions were really, really well done, really well adapted to the console. And I think that's something that we can all agree that the way that Nintendo did their games was not in a way that it didn't use the console's capabilities. So they always tried to max it out as much as they could. As you said, that cartridge specifically as an expansion chip, let's say, to boost a little bit the console's capabilities. But nevertheless, was a great game. Super Mario 3 was one of my favorites also. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I'm sure some of the guys in the comments can tell us which one did you guys prefer? Super Mario 1, 2, 3? Which one? Maybe others from the. I mean, okay.
The second one has a special story, which is. You guys need to bring you in a channel one day. It's really
I mean, no, it's not. We cannot talk about Super Mario 64 because we all know about how Super Mario 64 was so great. But from the original series, you guys can let us know which ones did you actually like.
Drop them down below.
Yes, comment down below. So Blade, I guess you have something for us today to talk about, correct?
I have a game also, but I'm going to follow Pedro's example, and I'm going to bring an NES game, going back to the 8-bit era also, to a very simple game but quite addictive that I used to play. It came out in 85, if I recall correctly. Came a year after in Europe. It was a game called Ice Climber.
Oh my god, what a classic.
Love that one.
I played it on my 8-bit on my NES clone. So much that game was so fun.
Awesome. No, but it was quite a simple game, but quite addictive. You actually had two characters Popo and Nana. You played Popo if you played solo. If you had someone with you, you used to play sister called Nana, and you just had a scenario that was a mountain. You needed to go up level by level, break the ceiling, go up. Usually break small blocks. You had some enemies that would try to cover those holes, and you could actually hit them with the hammer you used. You had some platforms you needed to go up that weren't with the ceiling closed. You had remember a little cloud that passed by and a few different types of platforms. And you needed to
climb 8 levels.
That was the bonus level, exactly.
You needed to climb 8 levels, then you entered the bonus section. You had to pick up food, then get to the top, and there was a bird passing by, and you just needed to time it right and just grab it on the legs, so you could pass the level and get the bonus.
8-bit precise.
Yeah,
8-bit precision.
You have to be extremely precise to grab him.
It's called pixel perfect. That's what they say on the speedruns. You have to do it pixel perfect.
Yeah. Do you know that game actually was a bit changed in the Europe and US? Did you know some of the enemies were changed?
Yeah, I noticed it because I actually had the original Japanese version on my console, and when I saw the images of when someone played it on an NES, a European NES with the game, I was like, "What the hell is that?"
I have it in my collection. Yeah.
Now the enemies look quite different. I remember quite clearly seeing seals come on the first level. And on the other consoles, they didn't have any seals.
Exactly.
It was completely different.
You cannot smash the seals. You smash like ice monsters or whatever it is.
Yeah, they were huge. It looked like Yetis or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, Yetis. Yeah,
but this was such a fun game.
It's so funny that those things still happen to this day, and there's mainly differences, and I give you a very quick example. In the Blizzard MOBA, Heroes of the Storm, which I play quite frequently, the characters, for example, the character Stitches, which is a boss from Naxxramas, actually the belly of that monster is basically his chest or his ribs are pointing outside, and you can see his guts. In the the Chinese version in China, because as the game is played, the character model does not show any of the inside of the exactly. So there is this thing that still happens to this day that comes from back then. There's many games that they changed actually some characters or some little details due to some, censor. I wouldn't say censorship, but maybe.
Oh, it is censorship.
It is censorship. But also to hide some of the gory details and stuff like that. Kind of like with Mortal Kombat Blood, for example, that was different from consoles.
That to console. I believe Mortal Kombat was the lessons learned for Nintendo because they lost a lot of customers because of this censorship. Because on Mortal Kombat 2, the blood is there in all its glory.
Everything is there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's a great conversion, by the way.
I remember we talked about Mortal Kombat in a past episode, and I told DJ I still remember to this day on the Mega Drive how we enabled the blood at start.
Gore mode on.
Yeah.
It's called muscle memory.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I remember it clear as day. I still remember the combination.
I have the same in several games, including one that I have here to talk about.
Okay, good. So if you have another one to talk about, let's move on to that. And which one you want to bring us now?
Okay, I now go for the 16-bit of Sega.
Okay.
And it's one of my favorites. Let's see if I can.
Revenge of Shinobi.
Revenge of Shinobi. Okay. Yes. I talk about this game a lot on my channel because I really like it.
Such a normal theme on the 90s, the ninjas, right? There was so many ninja games back then, but Shinobi did.
And movie.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the US.
Yeah. And I actually got my Mega Drive Model 1 with the famous how they call it? It's the second compilation they did with Golden Axe, Streets of Rage,
Mega Games.
This one, Mega Games 2, exactly. Mega Games. They call it Mega Action, whatever the package was called. And I had really good grades, to get to get that on Christmas. I had to do like perfect grades or something like this. I don't know. And when I put put the Mega Games, I thought, okay, my favorite game is Streets of Rage. I already knew the game, and I thought, okay, Streets of Rage will be my favorite. Golden Axe, I like it. It's a great game, but okay, Streets of Rage. Revenge of Shinobi, I actually never heard about it. I was like, what is this Revenge of Shinobi? Man, I start the game and I was like, what is this? The game is awesome. This is really it's difficult.
It's really cool.
but it's really awesome. And the sound, I saw the screen in the beginning, like this ninja jumping music by Yuzo Kojiro, and I was, what, the same as Streets of Rage? What is this? What is this? And I start playing, and I was like, it's like I'm the ninja. This is really great. I died several times, and then I finished the game. I remember the first time I finished the game, I had to finish the game with a cheat code that you had infinited shurikens. So you had to go to the options menu, you select the shurikens, and you put the shurikens into 0, wait, I think 10 seconds, and then the 0 goes to the infinite symbol. And then you have infinite shurikens. Spoiler
there you go,
alert.
guys. Cheat
Spoiler alert.
If you want to use it, go there and do that. You can
now you know how.
Shuriken.
It's the easiest way to finish the game. And when I finished the game, you had to save your girlfriend from this really bad organization, evil, like every ninja stuff in the 90s.
Every US movie in the 90s, it's either your family or girlfriend or something like that. You have to save from some evil corporation, which usually is either Chinese or Japanese.
Yeah, because Japan and China, they don't get along.
Exactly.
I actually remember that game quite
I remember
well.
finishing the game, and the level had your girlfriend, and the ceiling was slowly going down.
Yeah.
And I was, what the fuck? I need to kill the guy in time, and then bam, bad ending.
I forgot to say it's either Chinese, Japanese, or Russian. Forgot to mention the Russians.
Yeah.
That's,
and Germans.
Yeah, but that was more on the old movies. But I guess
Right.
yeah, it makes the point. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. Movies, more German guys were really bad.
I did not play Shinobi back in the Sega days. As I said, little access I had to consoles. I had a neighbor that had a Mega Drive 1, and I think obviously once he borrowed me the console actually for a few days, and the most I've played was Columns. Go figure. Was Columns and Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. Those were the games I actually had a lot of contact with. Then my cousin bought a Game Gear. Actually, she didn't buy it. I mean, their parents gave her a Game Gear for Christmas. And whenever I would, go to my grandparents' house and I would meet her there, I would usually play Echo the Dolphin, like a lot on the Game Gear.
You could basically play 30 minutes.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say.
No.
When I
with
say
a charger.
Exactly.
Okay.
When you say play a lot, not with batteries, because with batteries you would play for half an hour and there goes 6 batteries out the window. But it is what it is because of the screen of that console. It's actually the screen that draws most of the power on the Game Gear, anyways. But that's technicalities. We can leave that for anher. We can leave that for Pedro. That he's the one that covers that stuff well in his channel. Yeah. So guys, if you want to know why there's so much battery consumption on the Game Gear, check Pedro's channel.
Well, yeah. One day, if I replace the screen, and I'll do it on camera, and I will explain for sure. I have it planned. I never got. I need to repair my PC
spoiler
engine.
today. The second one.
I don't know if you see back there, it's open. That's a PC engine that is open.
Oh.
That I need to solder because some of my RGB mod was destroyed, and now I need to solder it again. But I will bring it to the channel one of these days.
I saw actually recently a video of, not one, several of these IPS screen replacements that you have for the Game Gear. That completely changes the battery consumption and the system itself. Obviously it has way more quality. It reduces the battery consumption, but there's also some battery packs for the Game Gear actually. So you can also buy those as well as you can buy for the Game Boy and many other consoles. That makes it easier to manage that battery part. But anyways,
I have 2 Game Gears. I need to pick them up one of these days and start modding them properly for sure.
Send me one. Send me one, please.
Maybe you never know. Maybe I mod it first and I'll give it to you for free. What do you think?
Wow, I gotta visit you there someday. All right, you got another game for us, Pedro? What do you have?
Sure. Well, you need games. I have
you have a lot of them, of course.
Now going for the 32-bit era and staying on Sega, I have
Saturn.
Let's see. Here it is. I have Reflection. Panzer Dragoon Zwei. Zwei is actually a German word for 2. And this is the US release. I got it years ago because I got it very cheap, and this game is not cheap. So, and this game, I have an interesting story that I will tell you. So, I had a Sega Saturn back in the days. As you guys are from Portugal, and people out there that are listening this in English don't know, but the Saturn was actually pretty popular in Portugal.
Yeah,
because exactly, Portugal was very Sega land, let's say.
Yep.
Everyone had a Sega, almost. It's unbelievable, or a Master System, or a Mega Drive, or a Sega Saturn. And I had a Mega Drive, and then naturally I got a Sega Saturn. But I got a bit disappointed with the games, honestly speaking. The PlayStation was already out, and they got really cool games. But of course, I was a Sega fan back then, so I liked Sega very much. And one day I passed to this, there's no online, right? So I passed the store that I usually pass on my old hometown, and I look at the store, and there it was, Panzer Dragoon. I didn't play the first one. I only saw it on magazines, and this one was in a promotion. It was very cheap, and I convinced my grandfather to bought me this game somehow. Very convincing. I don't know. And I went home with a friend of mine that had a PlayStation, and he was like, "Oh, PlayStation has better graphics. Forget about the Saturn, PlayStation, man." And I put the game. Like, first time I played the game, and the PlayStation owner was playing the game with me, and it was like, "What? The Saturn cannot do 3D. What is this sorcery? What the hell? This is so beautiful, the game, and the soundtrack is amazing, and what the hell? Infinite,
awesome.
You see the polygons not popping up in your eyes like it was usual on this era." And man, oh man, the guy was like, "Man, the Saturn can do 3D actually." And yeah, I finished the game like very fast, and I opened something that's the beauty of the 90s. We didn't know what to expect from the games. There was no online. There was magazines, but they didn't cover the games properly. It was like a review, and that's it.
Yeah.
And when I finished the game, you actually unlock something called the Pandora's box. Inside, you can do whatever. This game is amazing. So,
It's
first,
so awesome.
you can select different roads, different paths that you can choose to go through the game. You can evolve your dragon, depends on your ability to shoot people, and you can, if you are fast to run away from the shooting, you get the faster dragon. If you shoot very well, you get the stronger dragon. It really depends on your way of playing the game to evolve your dragon. And you finish the game, you could have this Pandora box that opens a lot of things, modifications.
It's kind of like a new game inside of a game you just finished, right? And that's
they just perfected the Panzer Dragoon, the first original Panzer Dragoon. That was really good, but this one for me, in terms of rail shooters, it's by far my favorite.
I think we always have that, and I keep mentioning this. Blade has mentioned that he never had an Amiga, now he has one, but he used to have someone that had an Amiga. And there's always this cousin that we have in the family that has the Sega Saturn. And for me, that was exactly the case. I didn't have a Sega Saturn. I had a PC back then. And I mean, obviously, looking back at the generation and looking back at what the consoles did at that time, it was so much better than the PC and what we had back then that it was actually amazing to play that. I played the first Panzer Dragoon on the Sega Saturn, like many other games, like Virtua Fighter and stuff like that. But it was such a good game, especially when we compare it with similar titles. For example, I could compare it with Star Fox on Nintendo. And it wasn't the same thing because Panzer Dragoon had such a different theme. It wasn't that cartoonish style stuff. It was more serious. It was more real.
Technically, it's a very impressive game. They created the language, right? They created the language.
Exactly.
It has its own language. It's crazy. But technically, and now that we have emulators that you can select what the chipsets are doing, you can disable the functions and see what the games are looking. If, for example, because the Saturn was, the Saturn is one of my favorite systems. It is. And
Saturn was awesome.
it's a complex system, but it was actually very powerful, but very difficult to program to. And a lot of game developers actually took advantage of only one of the VDPs. They had two graphical chipsets, the VDP1 and VDP2. And this Panzer Dragoon, the first one and the second one, took advantage of the architecture of the system using both VDP chipsets. So you have this infinite lane that you see on the game, not possible on the PlayStation. This is not possible to do on the PlayStation because it needs really the VDP lane to draw an unlimited, and on all the polygons are on top of this infinite lane that this game provides, and it's an amazing looking game. Yeah.
No, indeed, and Sega Saturn left a very good legacy of not only the games. The console itself, in fact, it's one of the hardest consoles to actually be able to mod at any level. And
so
I was recently seeing videos about that. I think that the only way that you can actually play non-original games, or let's say if you want to make a backup or a copy of one of your games, because that's physical media that eventually tends to get deteriorated. The only way that I know is by using one of those cartridges that you put on the slot.
Saturn.
Yeah, exactly. That you put the cartridge there to fake the initial code that is injected into the CD player to actually make it look like it's an original Sega game, and then you can put a copy, and then you can actually run it. That's the only way I know, because
there are more ways now. Nowadays there are more ways.
Yeah.
So, the cool thing about
but anyways, just one comment is that most of those ways that were just recently developed, because until I think it took over 20 years to actually find something or have the technology to actually mod that console in a way that you can actually play obviously pirated games. We're not talking about copies, but even for you that you are a collector, you want to keep your games as the best that they can in terms of physical media. So you might want to make a copy, and that's something that you can't do, or you couldn't do, just about recently, a few years ago, maybe a decade ago or something.
The lasers of these systems, the moving components of this system,
they go bad.
They are dying. They are dying. And
exactly.
Nothing we can do. It's a matter of years, and that's why it's so important that we found ways to really keep the original hardware still working, with maybe playing games over the SD card. And now it's possible on the Saturn. There is Terra Onion that released a product for the Saturn and for the Dreamcast.
Nice.
But there was a hacker that found a way, because the Saturn. Sorry to take your time, guys, but you mentioned the Saturn and Saturn.
Go for it.
The hacker found a way. So in the back of the Saturn, there is an entry port that you could put, for example, a decompressor for video CDs.
Yes.
MPEG-1, I believe MPEG-1. And you need a special card to decompress this kind of media and play video CDs on the Saturn. And this guy found out in the design of the PCB that this port has direct access to the graphical part and the graphical component.
Yep, I saw that video that you're talking about. I know what he did.
And this means that he can push content through there and have it kind of running. But actually, there's no product yet released. But I believe it's going to be a matter of time to have something in the market.
You can just confirm this, because what I read about the Saturn, and now I'm not sure if this was about the Saturn or the Dreamcast, but you can confirm that, is that the games that you play on the Sega Saturn, when I actually put the CD and the game is run, the game is actually being run on a sandbox. So the game is not being run on the console's operating system. It's actually a separate sandbox that is open to run the games. I think I saw this somewhere, and this is one of the difficulties, is that when you run it on a sandbox, there is no direct access that you have from external outside of the hardware.
Protection,
and this is what makes the Sega Saturn so difficult to crack and so difficult to go forward with it.
And in the early days, the only way that you could actually copy games on the Saturn was because the I don't know if you've ever seen the CD from the Saturn has a kind of area.
It's a ring.
It's a ring, area that's the
copy protection. Yeah,
exactly. So the Saturn needs to read it first to allow them to go for the data, proper data.
Yep.
So what people do in the years ago, not me because I'm against piracy. No.
We all are. We all are.
Yes, exactly. You first put an original disk to read the protection area, and then you just swap it very fast, and then after that it will start reading the data of the copy burn CD.
I think that was also a method on the first PlayStation.
It's called swap trick or something.
Yeah. I think the PlayStation 2 had a lot of swap mods like that. You would put a boot CD that would...
1.
Yeah.
But the issue on the Saturn is that if you open the drive, it will go out.
Yep.
So what you need to do, you need to open and just... it has a sensor that checks if the door is open. So you need to shut the sensor so you can open the door and the console was not detecting.
You have to be really fast.
And we could be here talking about the Sega Saturn for, another 2 hours and probably would still have content to make, I don't know, a week of episodes. No, that's fine. That's fine. Even I am a big enthusiast of the Sega Saturn. Although I never owned one, I did consume a lot of information about it, especially technical information, which I'm very, very interested into.
System. Yeah.
It's such a very nice thing.
DJ, I heard you have a Saturn going your way pretty soon, right?
I was supposed to, COVID got in the way of those plans, unfortunately. I was about to acquire a Saturn when I was in Portugal
We'll
recently.
be there, eventually.
But, with the cases going up and stuff and the country practically being locked down, there was no chance for me to actually meet the person to get it because it was still quite far away. But anyways, that's still a plan. And when I go back to Portugal once again, hopefully everything will be better and I'll be able to get one.
Saturns, by the way, all different. 2 Japanese and 1 PAL. Yeah.
Actually, I can travel to you easier than I can travel back to my country. So
maybe I can get you a Saturn. I can hook up you.
They are
cheap here. They are not so expensive here, by the way.
They are not so expensive here in Poland, also. But again, I'm trying to find one that is really well taken care of because it's like you said, the hardware for that is disappearing, and anything that breaks right now it might be difficult to get replaced anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
DJ.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, so. I'm finally going to bring up a game. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm going to cut the mood on the consoles, and I'm going to go back to the 90s also, the late 90s, but sorry to, break the Sega Saturn and the SNES and NES that we've been discussing here. But as I said, I'm going back to the PC. PC was my tool, of the trade back then. And I was playing a lot of the games on the PC. So today I want to talk about Constructor from 1997. So this was an MS-DOS game. It was developed by System 3 and published by Acclaim.
It was so awesome.
It was an awesome game, and obviously it's one of those that needs to be on the our story. And this one was past the point where I was starting to understand English a little bit better, and I was understanding how these complicated games, especially this one that is into the strategy, let's say, area, that you really need to understand what's going on. So it was originally released for MS-DOS, and later was actually ported to the PlayStation, Mac OS, and Windows, and it was ported to Windows with support for DirectX 3, if you guys remember the good old DirectX 3. It's a game packed with a lot of very characteristic humor. It's like on those lines of Tycoon, Transport Tycoon or whatever, in that sense, where the player controls a construction company, where the final objective is basically to dominate the area that you're building over other developers. So there's going to be a lot of other developers in the area, and you have to fight them. The premise is simple. You need to build houses, get the tenants in, they will pay you rent, and thus you increase the overall value that contributes to you overcoming the opponents. As the landlord, just like in real life, the objective is to attend to your tenants' problems. You will receive letters with certain problems, for example, like I need a new fence, and if you fail to do so, you get black marks, which will also translate that your tenants will get very unhappy. Additionally to that, you can produce resources for your constructions, just like wood, brick, and etc. And you can also produce gadgets to improve the housing and raise their value. So, if a tenant wants an air conditioning, you can actually put an air conditioning in there. Now, the winning factor of this game is not only the fact that you have to keep your buildings well maintained and you have to look after your tenants, but you can also use some shady tactics to actually disrupt the opponent's buildings and resource the site. So, for example, you can have hippie community living close by that will reduce the opponent's value, the property value. You can actually pay someone to create a street party. Start doing street parties next to the other neighbors, so that the other guy that has those buildings will really suffer with that. Or you can even build a pawn shop. Usually pawn shops attract thieves.
Yeah.
So
that's the 90s, right?
I mean, that's the 90s, but it was such a great game because...
And I remember that the game was tough as nails. It was really tough.
It was difficult. I mean, it sounds...
Again, the 90s.
It might sound simple, but it was very difficult because, eventually the opponent would start... You wouldn't think about, I'm not going to use these shady tactics for now. I'm just going to keep the tenants happy and stuff like that. But this guy was throwing everything at you that he could to ruin your experience. Oh, yeah. And they would succeed. And it was so difficult. It was kind of like being a mafia of the landlords, It was kind of like that type of game.
So very realistic then.
Yeah. It was, and I don't know if these games today would be released anyways, considering the market and the kind of controls that we have over gaming right now. But it was a very fun game. I remember playing this a lot back in my, probably I was already on my Pentium days. I don't know if this was still on my 486 or on my Pentium. It was one of these computers that I had.
Actually, can't remember, to be honest.
Played a lot of it. It's a very fun game. In fact, in May 2017, you had a remastered version of this coming from Steam, as well as for PlayStation and Xbox. And they did a complete graphical overhaul of the game, which is, it's absolutely, pristine now. It looks very, very good. But they kept all the original, playability and the strategy and so on. So nothing was touched in terms of how the game is played. It was just the graphics, which is, for me, that's how you do a remake. You improve the graphics for nowadays and so on. The thing about this game is, if you don't want actually to play this remastered version with the graphical overhaul, you can still get on GOG.com the original 1997 version, and it costs like €5. So if you guys want to try it again, please do. If you don't know it, it's a very, very fun strategy game. A little bit difficult though, but with some practice.
Do you know if the PlayStation version was the same, or it had some differences?
As far as I know, it was the same. There was no differences. I mean, the only difference is that you play with a gamepad. But they kept the original playability of the game.
Cool.
And you can try it if you have a PC. Obviously, the experience would be better on the PC because of keyboard and mouse. But if you don't have it by any chance, just you can go along with one of the console versions and try it out. It's an excellent game, guys. So please let us know in the comments if you actually played it or not. But it's one of those that it's on the goodies list. So
I was a big fan of SimCity, by the way. The original SimCity across all the SimCities, I played them all. And I remember the first SimCity, I played it with a monochromic screen in the 386 in the floppy disk.
Yeah. That was one of my first computers also. I had a 286 and a 386 also. Both great machines, by the way. But
I destroy them really well. Sorry, I play.
We all do.
We all do.
What this does? Let me take out.
Exactly. Okay. It was trial and error. There was no internet. There was no internet for us to learn how it was done. So
it was. So we had to destroy. Sorry, to maintain.
Maintain, exactly. So I think that you have one more game for us, Pedro, right? To talk about, and I want to close this episode in great style, and I'm sure that the next or the last one that you have there to talk about with us is going to be one of the best, right?
Well, they are all good, right? They are all good. But this one is this is a really, it's not a common one, let's say. That's
okay.
That's okay. And the system itself is not a common one, and it's really big. Okay. So here we have a Neo Geo game. Samurai Shodown.
That is so awesome.
The Neo Geo AES.
One of my favorite fighting games of Neo Geo, to be honest. Samurai Shodown.
It's also mine.
I just love it. I mean, okay, we can talk about King of Fighters. We can talk about many other titles, fighting games for the Neo Geo.
The manual.
Samurai Shodown is just so perfect, man. It's such a great game.
It's a small card, It's a very small card.
No, of course, yeah.
With 2 PCBs on it.
No, you have to get to the one end of the room, and then you just run to the console and just.
It's a game that I played first, of course. Where do I play the game? In the arcades. In the place in Portugal called Figueira da Foz. With our good friend it's a pixel thing Metro. And Figueira da Foz in Portugal was like a place in the summer that you had a lot of arcade places. A lot. It was unbelievable.
The beach was the calling to that. You would get out of the beach, you would go to the arcade.
It's amazing. A lot of I played so many games
or arcades.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same in my city. In Almada, we have Costa da Caparica, and there was an arcade there. We would go out of the beach, go to the arcade, and that's where we would play.
But not one. There were several. In Figueira da Foz, there were several, and all crowded. All crowded. It was unbelievable. Because in summertime, people that lives in the center of Portugal, they actually go to the Figueira da Foz. Yeah. It was very common. And it was crowded. And one day, I look at the machine, and I saw this sound of the swords, this metal clashing.
Yeah.
Ching, ching. And I was, what the hell? And I look at the graphics of the game, and I was, okay, this is Samurai Shodown. I already played this on the Mega Drive. But the graphics were completely different.
Not the same thing.
Okay,
Definitely.
but I look at the characters and I said, yeah, Samurai Shodown. Oh man, that's good. Man, I think I didn't have enough age. I was not old enough to play arcades. But as usual, I played it anyhow. I put the coin on it, and I said, I'm a pro because I played this on the Mega Drive.
A coin? I guess it wasn't just one, right?
Well, the ones that I had, right?
Exactly.
And I start playing. I passed the first level. The game was making easy with Homaru, which is the most common character, and I was pretty good. I knew the special moves because it's Street Fighter like. It's the same move sets. Yeah. And I played it the first level very easy. Oh, that's so easy. Come on, I'll finish the game. Second level, I lost immediately. Like the guy. This is Neo Geo style. They give you a bit of a chance. Okay, the game is rude. Put coins into it because you're getting good, and then on the second level,
you're done.
And, yes, and it was an amazing game. It's my favorite Samurai Shodown in all the Samurai Shodown franchise. It's the second one, very special to me. And I was waiting. Okay, maybe it goes out to the Mega Drive. Never came out for my Mega Drive. And when I start to collect. I promised myself to have a Neo Geo when I was a kid. I look into a Spanish magazine called Hobby Consoles. I don't know if you guys are aware of it.
Yeah.
And I got one of these magazines, and the Neo Geo was actually sold in Spain. And I look at the magazine. I saw the Neo Geo graphics, and I was, what is this? I need to get one. Then I saw the price, and I said, okay.
You think that the Neo Geo handheld console actually... Sorry, not handheld. It isn't handheld? There was a handheld. Exactly. Do you think that the Neo Geo Pocket really does bring you the same experience, or not really?
Not really, no.
No, it doesn't.
I also collect for the Neo Geo Pocket. I have a couple of games, including Metal Slug.
I don't
Sonic,
own
Sonic the
original
Hedgehog,
Neo Geo, but I have a Neo Geo
Samurai
X.
Shodown 2 for the Neo Geo Pocket. Completely different experience. It's not even on pair with a Mega Drive, with a Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. It's simply not. But it's still a way that you can play. But the games are fun, It's not all about the graphics, right, guys? And the games are really fun, but no, it's not.
I guess it comes down to that. That's why I was asking if the experience was the same, because that's usually what we see. We were just talking about the Game Gear, and everybody would expect that the experience between the Master System and the Game Gear would be the same. And I guess that technically or essentially it was, but there was obviously some games where some of that, of that experience would be lost. I guess.
The Game Gear was the Master System with a bit more color palette.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically,
it was still an 8-bit console, anyways.
Yes. Yeah. The Neo Geo Pocket. I don't know if you know. There are some interesting facts about the Neo Geo Pocket. For example, Sega and SNK actually worked together. That's why they had the first Sonic out of the Sega hardware. It was for the Neo Geo Pocket, and you can link the Neo Geo Pocket with the Sega Dreamcast. Do you know this?
Really? I did not
Didn't know that.
You could link the Sonic Pocket Adventure, which is the name of the game on the Neo Geo Pocket, and you can link it to the Sonic Adventure 2 and exchange items. And it's. I need to get a cable because I have the Neo Geo Pocket. I have a Dreamcast with a Sonic Adventure 2, but I don't have the link cable. I need to get the link cable because I really want to see what they can do.
I had no idea about that, and I mean, obviously, I've never went really much into the Neo Geo Pocket. I knew it existed and some of the games that it had, but I never really went into it.
You see my finger? It's down there, the Neo Geo Pocket.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you before, Pedro, I'm still after an original Neo Geo on AES, but I never got my hands on one at a decent price. The only Neo Geo I have is the Neo Geo X, the portable one that you can actually plug into the bigger console and play in the living room. That's the only one I could.
I have that. I have the Neo Geo Mini. I love SNK and the Neo Geo. I really love. And
SNK
if I would not love, I will not spend that amount of money. I have 7 games for the Neo Geo AES. I almost can buy a car with the price of that game.
Yeah, that's extremely
expensive. I guess that before we close off for today, I'll leave a comment. I'll leave a question to the comment section. And guys, in the comment here it is: would Neo Geo or SNK would ever be as successful if Street Fighter had not come around? That's a very good question, and I would like you guys to answer, because for me, and to give you already some introduction to that. For me, SNK is a company that built their whole legacy on mainly fighting games. Of course, that's what we've seen, and
Neo
mainly
Bomberman,
based off
DJ Neo Bomberman.
I know exactly. Metal Slug is not a fighting game. There's Neo Bomberman. There's all sorts of other games, but we all know that in the arcades, what really made SNK a household name was the fighting games, and in many cases, we always say that it was very, very inspired on Street Fighter. But it's a question.
This was different, right? This was different than Street Fighter.
Weapon-based, exactly. Something that we've seen. We started seeing a lot. We already seen on the Neo Geo SNK games as such. But for example, we started seeing on fighting games on the PC with like Battle Arena Toshinden, for example, that had weapons also. So again. It's a question for the comments, and the guys. I think that they will. We're going to start here a very good or interesting discussion. At least that's my view. I believe that SNK is. I'm not saying that they are copying anything. I think that they based themselves on a very successful formula, and they made it better. That's my opinion.
They didn't make any extra games called Body Blows. From what I know, the story
of SNK, I think they hired some ex-Capcom developers.
Yeah,
and they took a lot of I call it inspiration from the Street Fighter franchise. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to mention. So, Pedro, we're gonna wrap it up for today, and I'm going to give you my warm regards. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Bringing you your experience, bringing your knowledge to this, because as I said, I love the technical part of your channel. And that's exactly what I watch. Why I watch it is actually going in depth with this technical challenges and the technical ability that you have to explain it. Obviously, so thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you guys. So I actually when I got your channel on my recommendations from YouTube, you guys were recommended to me. So we have something in common. We have something in common, And you produce really great content. And not only that, it's not all about the content. It's the good vibes that sometimes in YouTube is getting rare, and you guys have that. And that's something that you need to cheer and be proud of. That you get really good vibes and very interesting talks. And I was very proud to be invited to your amazing channel, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Your thing. Thank you, and I guess that we have to fulfill the commitment. I'm gonna have to visit you one day and spend some time in that beautiful room of yours, play some really good games. Because
I have some arcade machine. I have some arcade machine that we can have fun for sure.
I'm I'm sure that if you can send the kids away, we're gonna have a boys afternoon and just smash some buttons.
My kid is almost 8. He can. I think he can join us. Some skills.
Get him a Nintendo 64 controller, and we can play all Mario Kart.
Probably will win.
Yeah, most likely. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. You know what to do. If you like, leave a like. If you dislike, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Drop by Retro Game Force channel. We're gonna leave the links in the description. Yeah. If you're interested in really good retro content with some really in-depth technical explanations, you got it there.
Subscribe to his channel.
Subscribe to his channel. Yes, exactly. As Blade is yelling.
There's a subscribe button. You click on it.
The big red button on the bottom.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes it's hard to catch. Sometimes it's...
Yeah. Don't forget to activate the bell so that you get all the notifications whenever we share any new content. And guys, we'll see each other next week on the next Couchisode. So see you later and game on, guys.
Yeah. See you guys next week. Thank you so much again, Pedro, for being with us. And everyone, have a great week. Have fun and game on.